I freeze under the bed as the man I just married lies to his best friend without blinking. The carpet under my cheek smells like hotel bleach and rose petals. My wedding dress is folded beside me, abandoned for a hoodie I pulled over my hair like a cloak. I should be laughing, this was supposed to be a joke. I wanted to catch Eli off guard, maybe see him do something sweet or silly once he thought he was alone. But the door opens too softly. It isn't Eli. Footsteps, different rhythm, Damien. He walks in like he owns the silence, not calling out, not knocking. I hold my breath. My new husband's best friend kicks off his shoes, mutters something under his breath I can't catch. Then I hear the unmistakable pop of a mini fridge opening. I thought she'd be here, he says to himself. No answer. Another door clicks open. A beat later, Eli's voice too casual. She's probably knocked out. Big day. Damien, you sure she's okay? Eli laughs. It's dry. It doesn't sound like the Eli I married. She's fine. She still thinks I'm the guy she proposed to. Pause. That wasn't a proposal, Damien says. She asked if you wanted to build a life. You said, sure. Like it was lunch plans. I press my lips together to stop the tremble. Something in Eli's tone shifts. Lighter. Colder. Listen, he says, as long as she never finds the drive, we're golden. There's a weight in those words. Damien leans against the dresser, his keys jingle softly as they shift in his pocket. She's not supposed to find that drive. Ever. Eli's voice is closer now. I feel the bottom of my stomach tilt. My wedding band scratches the floor as I adjust my hand. It's suddenly too tight. Damien, you said Naomi was gone. Eli, she is. Legally and emotionally, the quiet that follows feels violent. I don't even know a Naomi. I don't want to. But that name detonates something in the room, even if they're both pretending it doesn't. Eli mutters something I can't hear. Then look, just relax. She's not a threat. She doesn't even know we moved her folder. My mind races. Folder, drive, Naomi. Damien's voice cuts through my spiraling. She looked at you today like she believed every word, even when you lied about the lease. Eli doesn't respond. Instead, he shifts. He's pacing now. I can tell by the sound of his socks brushing the carpet. Controlled movement. Anger restrained. She believes what she needs to, he finally says. My heart cracks. Not breaks, cracks. Quietly along the seams I didn't realize were already worn thin. Damien drops his voice like he's carrying glass. What happens when she doesn't, Eli? Then she'll have to decide what she's really marrying. He laughs. Damien doesn't. Another silence. This one stretches long enough for me to hear my own heartbeat. Finally, Damien says, I'm not helping you if Naomi resurfaces. You already did, Eli replies. Everything's backed up. They leave. The door closes behind them. I stay under the bed, trembling for what feels like forever. Eventually, I crawl out barefoot. I reach for my phone. A new text from Carla. You okay? Got weird vibes earlier. I don't reply. I just stare at the screen until it goes black, the reflection of my own eyes glaring back at me from a shadow I didn't know I'd stepped into. I don't even know a Naomi, but that name detonates something in the room, even if they pretend it doesn't. I thought I'd married someone safe. I didn't know I'd married someone who needed me to stay blind. I'm Jenna Ruiz, 29, a graphic designer from Atlanta, Georgia. The morning of my wedding, I woke up, disoriented, curled on Carla's couch. She'd insisted I stay with her the night before instead of Eli's apartment for tradition, but really she wanted one last chance to study my face. You always squint when you're lying to yourself, she said, holding a mascara wand inches from my left eye. So you nervous or just being polite about it? I'm not lying to myself, I said, but I didn't meet her eyes. She grunted and dabbed the corner of my eye. You always overthink things. That doesn't mean you're wrong. But it doesn't mean you're right either. I looked in the mirror. My reflection stared back like it owed me something. Just promise me, she said. If something feels off, don't talk yourself out of it. Ask. Even if it makes things messy. I laughed. Are you giving me permission to be dramatic? No, she said, putting the wand down. I'm giving you permission to be honest. The day was bright but not warm. The venue was small, tight budget, beautiful brick loft ivy in the corners, rows of thrifted candles flickering like they knew secrets. People I hadn't seen in years showed up smiling with teeth too white. Eli arrived half an hour late, claiming the Uber driver got lost. Carla didn't believe him. I could see it in her jaw. The ceremony was short. Eli's vows were good, too good. Like they'd been written with an editor. People clapped at the right places, cried on cue. Damien stood to the left, not looking at either of us. Afterward, I went to change out of my dress while the rest of the group filtered into the reception hall. When I came back, Eli was already mid-conversation with someone from his job. Damien wasn't there. "Where's your best man?" I asked. "He went to grab something from the hotel," Eli said quickly. "Said he'd meet us there." "Okay." I lied too easily. Later that night, after the dancing and toasts and uncomfortable hugs from my estranged cousin, Carla pulled me aside outside the bathroom. "You seem off," she said. "I'm tired." "Damien was staring at you like he wanted to be anywhere else." "He always does that," I said. "It's his default." Carla tilted her head. "And Eli's fine," I nodded. "Yeah, he's sweet. Nervous but sweet." She didn't push it. "Okay. But you get one free card from me. If something doesn't feel right tonight, I'll come running. No questions asked." "Got it. Appreciate the drama clause." She smiled, but her eyes didn't. At the hotel, Eli carried me across the threshold like a scene from a movie. I laughed too hard, kissed his shoulder. He dropped me on the bed like I was breakable and went to start the shower. "Don't go anywhere," he said. "I'm not moving," I said, but my voice was too chipper. The moment he closed the door, I stood. My brain buzzed. I'd decided hours earlier that I wanted to prank him somehow, some innocent joke to cap off the night. Something to make him laugh, remind him we could be stupid together. So I slid under the bed, face pressed to the floor. I thought I'd surprise him when he came out. But minutes passed, and it wasn't Eli who entered first. It was Damien. What followed I've already relived in silence: the fridge, click the low-voiced dread, Eli's arrival, the phrases that hollowed me out. But after they left, after I climbed out with shaking knees, I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I picked up my phone and found a notification. Blog draft saved 7:52 p.m. I'd written it while getting ready, a thought I never finished. Sometimes trust feels like a lie you want to believe, even when it begs you not to. I didn't remember typing it. I didn't remember saving it. I opened a new note and wrote down everything I remembered hearing word for word, line by line. "She's not supposed to find that drive. Naomi. Folder. Lease." I didn't know what the drive was. I didn't know who Naomi was, but I knew Eli didn't expect me to know either. The door handle clicked. Eli stepped back in, towel around his waist. "Hey," he said, grinning. "You look exhausted. I'm just overwhelmed." "That's normal," he said, sitting beside me on the bed. "Today was a lot." He reached for my hand. I let him hold it. I stared at the ring on my finger, then at the carpet where I'd just been hiding. "You okay?" he asked. "Of course." I stared at the ring on my finger, then at the carpet where I'd just been hiding. I told him I was fine, but I was already starting to take notes. I woke up before Eli. His breathing was soft beside me, mouth slightly open, lashes brushing the pillow. He looked peaceful, like someone who hadn't just carved a sentence into the core of my trust the night before. I stared at him for a long time, trying to remember what it had felt like to believe him fully. I couldn't. I got up quietly, padded barefoot to the bathroom. My phone buzzed. Carla again. "You alive, or just blissed out and ignoring me?" I typed back. "Meet me at the cafe next to the venue. 1 hour. Bring your serious face." I didn't tell her why. I didn't know how. Eli stirred when I came back, stretching. "Hey, wife," he murmured. "Where'd you go, bathroom?" He smiled like nothing was broken. "Last night was perfect." "Yeah," I said. "Crazy perfect." He leaned up and kissed my hand. "You hungry, starving." He offered to order room service, but I told him I wanted air. "Let's go out. There's a little breakfast spot down the block." He agreed too easily. Eli was always too easy when he wanted something hidden. He got dressed while humming a song I used to like. I pretended to look for my earrings, but spent most of the time watching him in the mirror, trying to catch him being false. but he was smooth, always had been. I slipped my phone into my purse and walked beside him to the elevator. I couldn't remember the last time his hand in mine didn't feel like a warm glove over something cold. The cafe was quiet when we arrived too early for brunch crowds. Sunlight caught on the windows like it wasn't afraid of anything. I wasn't hungry anymore. "Sit anywhere," Eli asked the hostess. "Sure," she said. "Your server'll be right over." We sat. He ordered French toast. I asked for coffee. While we waited, I excused myself and texted, "Carla, where are you?" She responded, 2 minutes. I turned and saw her crossing the street. She looked like war in jeans and a bun. "Carla's coming," I said as I returned to the table. Eli blinked. "To breakfast, yeah. Thought it'd be nice to decompress with her." He paused, just for half a second. But I saw it. That flicker of calculation. Then, great, that'll be fun. Carla slid into the seat next to me. "Morning, newlyweds." Eli smiled too wide. "Hey, Carla, you look tired," she said. He laughed. "Big day yesterday." A beat. I stirred my coffee. "You guys seem tense," Eli said lightly. "Everything okay? I heard something weird last night," I said, still watching my spoon swirl. "Oh," he replied. Carla leaned in. "Yeah, I heard you lied about Naomi." Eli stiffened. "Excuse me," I looked up. "I was under the bed, Eli." He blinked. Carla crossed her arms. "Yeah, she heard everything." What are you talking about? I heard you say she's not supposed to find the drive," I said. "Heard you say Naomi was gone legally and emotionally." Eli looked around the cafe like the world might rescue him. "You were spying on me. You were talking like I wasn't even real." He laughed, short-forced. "You're twisting things." Carla raised her phone. "Funny. Because I recorded part of it. Public scene lock engaged. Location, cafe dining area, witness hostess, 2 other tables, device Carla's phone visibly recording. What?" Eli whispered. "Go ahead," Carla said. "Tell her we misheard." Eli stared at me. "You don't understand what you're digging into." "Then explain it," I said. "What's on the drive?" He didn't answer. "Who's Naomi?" Carla asked. "And what folder did you move?" Still nothing. Just a flicker of something mean beneath the surface. "Then you're making a mess of nothing." I stood. "Maybe, but it's mine to clean now." We left him at the table, blinking. Back at the hotel, I paced the room while Carla sat cross-legged on the bed, phone in hand. "Play it again," I said. She did. The muffled voices, Damien's tone, Eli's words, the timestamp. "Audio. 119. F. Carla said, saving it. "Back it up," I nodded. She handed me a thumb drive. "Keep this somewhere he can't touch." I shoved it into a makeup bag under a false bottom. "I still don't get why Damien was part of this," I said. Carla shrugged. "Guilt makes people obedient, especially cowards." "I need more." Carla opened her laptop and began typing. Then we start digging. He looked like peace and sounded like promises, but every sentence bent backwards when I replayed it. I wasn't listening for what he said anymore. I was waiting for what he wouldn't. Damien showed up late to the hotel brunch wearing a button-down that still had yesterday's creases. He looked like someone who'd barely slept and hadn't meant to. Carla and I were seated already, pretending we hadn't spent the last 2 hours dissecting the recording she saved. Eli had left early with some excuse about checking out on time and heading to the airport. Damien scanned the room before walking over. He didn't see Carla's phone still recording in her coat pocket, or maybe he didn't care. When he sat, he didn't greet me. Just looked down at his coffee like the liquid might rearrange itself into a moral answer. "I want to know what you meant," I said without a hello. "About the folder." He looked up. "That's not mine to explain." "You opened the door, literally and figuratively. Now finish the thought." Damien's shoulders sagged. "It's bad. Worse than you think." Carla folded her arms. "We're past vague warnings, Damien." He nodded slowly. "Naomi was Eli's intern. 2 years ago. She filed a complaint. HR brushed it off. Then she brought it up again. With screenshots. With texts. With everything." And I said, "She disappeared. Not literally, but professionally, personally. She was erased." My stomach turned. Howe settlement, gag order. Blacklisted from every agency in Atlanta. She left town. Did Eli admit anything? Carla asked. Damien shook his head. Only to me. He said she misunderstood. But I saw the texts. What do they have to do with me? I asked. Damien didn't answer at first. The drive you overheard us mention, it had copies of everything she gave HR, including a second complaint about you. I blinked. About me, she claimed. Eli was using you as cover, that he proposed so fast because he needed a clean image. Carla swore under her breath. So, she tried to warn you. I think so. I stood from the table. Where's the drive now? Damien pulled a flash drive from his coat pocket and placed it on the table like it might bite him. He made me hide it, but I made a copy. I reached for it, but Carla stopped me. Let me take it. We open it together. Later. I nodded. Fine, but I want the truth now. Damien looked at me for the first time. He's a coward with a great smile, and that's a dangerous mix. We left through the side entrance. I didn't look back. Back at Carla's apartment, we plugged the drive into her old laptop. A folder named Naomi. Doc blinked on screen. Inside a scan of her HR complaint with Eli's firm. Dozens of screenshots from a messaging app. A PDF of what looked like a prenuptial agreement draft between Eli and me, dated months before he even proposed. A memo titled, Statement If I Disappear. I read it with shaking hands. Naomi's tone was clinical. She listed dates, actions, quotes, and ended with, he says things that sound like apologies but are actually scripts. If anything happens to me, or if Jenna Ruiz marries him without seeing this, someone failed us both. I sat back in the chair, the room swimming. Carla didn't say anything. He wrote a prenup draft, I said finally. Before I even said yes, looks that way. For what? Carla opened the PDF. The clauses were brief but clear. Clause 2. 4. Spouse shall not claim ownership of past or future digital assets obtained prior to or during engagement. Clause 3.1. Any reputational damage incurred post-marriage shall not be the legal responsibility of Party A. This isn't a marital agreement, Carla said. It's a cover-your-ass contract. I laughed hollow. And I'm the alibi. She closed the laptop. You still want to talk to him? I nodded. I don't want an explanation. I want a choice. That evening, I waited until I knew Eli would be alone. I messaged him, meet me where you proposed. Don't bring anyone. I won't. He arrived in 10 minutes faster than I expected. The rooftop bar was mostly empty, just us and a bartender cleaning glasses with earbuds in. You look beautiful, he said, like nothing had happened. I nodded. Thanks. He reached for my hand. I didn't give it to him. I got a copy of the drive. His smile didn't falter. Okay. I read Naomi's statement. Still nothing. I know about the prenup draft, the HR emails, everything. He finally blinked. Once. You've been busy. You've been busy too, apparently, writing scripts, erasing women. He sat back. You don't know the whole story. Then tell it. He paused. Naomi wanted money. She threatened my job. She played victim. She documented everything. She's good at stories. And I'm what? The sequel. His jaw tightened. You always wanted the fairy tale. I just gave it to you. No, I said, rising. You gave me the version you could control. But I don't need it anymore. I left him there, drink untouched. He always spoke like a man who wrote the ending before I read the first chapter. I didn't want to destroy him. I wanted to remove him from the story entirely. The next morning, I chose my clothes like armor. No white, no soft edges. I wore charcoal gray boots with a thick heel and a braid tight enough to feel like control. Carla looked me over from the couch, coffee in hand. You look like someone who's already decided, she said. I have, I replied. We walked to the hotel lounge in silence. Eli was already there, seated at a table with Damien. His shirt was crisp, his hair gelled like the day we met. I saw the mask before I saw the man. Wait, Carla said as we reached the door. She handed me her phone. Recording's already on. Just slide it into the sugar dish if you don't want to hold it. I did exactly that. The hostess gave us a booth. I asked to sit where I had a view of the entire room. Miss Bramble, the same staff member who'd helped us carry flowers yesterday, was refilling the buffet trays. She glanced up, nodded at me like she remembered everything. Public scene locked. Eli stood and kissed my cheek. I let him. Damien didn't make eye contact. "You look beautiful," Eli said. "You said that yesterday," I replied. A flicker in his eyes. Still true. We ordered. Carla asked for hot water. I asked for answers. "Where's the drive?" I asked, low voice controlled. Eli frowned. "What drive?" "You know which one." Damien looked at him, then at me. "She knows." Eli let out a small exhale. "It's not what you think." "Then tell me what it is." "It's nothing official. Just backups, notes from old cases. It's not about you." "That's funny," I said. "Because Naomi's statement says otherwise." Damien looked up sharply. Eli's face went blank. "I don't know what you think you have," Eli said, calm now. Rehearsed. But Naomi was unstable. She lied to protect herself. Carla leaned forward. "Why would she need protection from you?" Eli's smile didn't waver. "You're twisting things. She had a draft prenup with your name on it months before Jenna even said yes. Legal precaution," he said. "Standard. She also had screenshots. Messages you sent her while you were with Jenna." Eli shifted. "I was trying to keep things civil." "She called it coercion," I said. He sat back. "Anyone can write anything." "That's why I brought this," Carla said, sliding a paper across the table. "Evidence has shown lock HR complaint Natalie Lynn CC to Damien. Archived by Jenna Sender. Natalie Lynn timestamp Oct 1370. 3 p.m. Subject harassment. Escalation content screenshots. A timeline and a statement naming Eli attached. Redacted incident report, witness names, digital logs forwarded from Carla to Jenna, then printed with metadata intact. Eli didn't touch the paper. "You're making this ugly." "It was already ugly," I said. "I just refused to see it." He looked toward Damien, maybe for backup, but Damien stood. "I'm done protecting you," Damien said. "You don't understand," Eli began. "No," Damien said. "I do. I always did." He walked out. The air shifted. Miss Bramble dropped a plate at the buffet. People turned. I stood. "This is over." Eli's voice followed me. "If you walk away, you lose everything we built." I didn't turn around. "You think you're the only one who got played," he added. I stopped. Looked back once. "I think I'm the only one who stopped pretending it was love." I left the phone recording on the table next to his untouched coffee. Outside, Carla caught up to me. "You okay?" "No." "You want to sit?" "No." She fell quiet. We walked. When we reached the parking lot, she unlocked the car but didn't get in. She turned to me and pulled something from her pocket. "Found this in your email trash last night." I stared at the envelope. Opened it. A booking confirmation. Miami. Honeymoon Hotel. Only one guest's name listed, Eli Ruiz. Dated 2 weeks before he proposed. I closed my eyes. He never intended to take me. "Nope," Carla said, "but now we're going to take him apart." He told me the honeymoon was a surprise, but the only surprise was that I wasn't invited. I gave him a chance to speak the truth. Now I'm giving the truth a chance to speak without him. Back at Carla's place, the blinds were pulled halfway down, and the laptop was already open on the coffee table. We didn't speak as we settled in. Carla opened her files with the clinical focus of someone about to perform an autopsy. I watched her fingers move keyboard, trackpad click until the folder marked AUD 119 glowed in the center of the screen like a dare. "I edited out the dead air," she said. "Just voices. Just what matters." I nodded once. "Play it." The speakers cracked slightly before smoothing into the quiet hum of hotel static. Then came Eli's voice. Clear, unmistakable, calm. "She's not supposed to find that drive. Ever." My stomach clenched. "Damien, I thought you said she didn't know about Naomi." "Eli, she doesn't. She thinks Naomi's a chapter I closed years ago." Pause. Muffled movement. A glass being set down. "Eli, besides, even if she finds the lease, she won't understand the dates." I pressed my palm to my knee, grounding myself. Damien, you think lies hold forever, Eli. They don't need to hold, just long enough to seal the next deal. Carla paused the audio. That's the line, she said. What? She turned to me. That's the line that proves intention. Legal intention. Manipulative concealment for gain. I blinked. I'm sending this to someone, she said. I know a guy in HR at his firm. I looked at the waveform on screen. I didn't hear my husband in that voice. I heard someone who practiced lying until he could pass a polygraph. Wait, I said. Let me listen again. We played it twice more. I transcribed every word. Carla emailed a cleaned-up version to herself and exported a copy to a new flash drive. Where are we on the email from Natalie? I asked. Carla tapped a folder. Already forwarded, and she responded. I sat up. She did. She thanked us. Said she thought no one ever believed her. The floor tilted under me. My eyes stung, but I didn't cry. She attached something else, Carla said. Said she didn't have proof at the time, but now it might help. The attachment loaded. A screenshot of a Slack conversation from over a year ago, Eli Ruiz. If Jenna knew about Naomi, she'd second-guess everything. Let's keep the fairy tale intact. I stared at it. The timestamp. The emojis at the end. The joke. Like it wasn't about real people. Is it time? Carla asked. I nodded. Let's burn this down. An hour later, I was back at the hotel. I needed to see the suite one more time. I told the front desk I'd left an earring. Miss Bramble, same calm face, same meticulous bun, escorted me back up. It's clean now, she said. Checked out already. Yeah, I said. I just thought I dropped something under the bed. She handed me a key card. You've got 5 minutes. Cameras are off for cleaning. When she left, I stood in the center of the room. Same carpet. Same faint bleach smell. Same bed. I lowered myself to the floor and lay flat. The angle was familiar. Too familiar. I closed my eyes. Eli's voice echoed in memory. She believes what she needs to. Not anymore. I got up and opened the minibar. I took out the mini champagne bottle we never drank and stuck it in my purse. Then I found a notepad by the phone and scribbled one line. If you ever feel safe lying, remember who was listening. I left it on the pillow. Carla was waiting downstairs with her phone open. A new email pinged in. Here it is, she said. Subject line, or allegation evidence Ruiz. From ethics.com, pliance@leepartnersfirm.com, to carla.delegato@presswire.org, cc jenna.ruiz.de, sign@gmail.com. Body, thank you for your submission. We confirm receipt of the following materials. Audio, 119. Wave, HR complaint. Natalie Lynn, original plus forwarded. Slack message excerpt dated 9/14. Prenuptial draft PDF. As of 4:30 p.m. EST, Eli Ruiz's internal system access has been revoked. An independent review panel will follow. Please do not contact firm employees during this review. Regards, Tasha K., Hawthorne Corporate Integrity and Ethics Office, Lee Partners, LLP. I read it twice before breathing. He's out, Carla said quietly. For now. No, this is the start. I looked up. I don't want to destroy him. You don't, I shook my head. I want him to finally hear what he sounds like when he's not the one doing the talking. He practiced every sentence until it passed as truth. He just forgot truth doesn't need rehearsal. He lost control the moment I stopped asking questions and started pressing record. The drive sat on the table between us like a detonator. I hadn't touched it since Carla made the copy, hadn't opened the folders marked Archive, Old and Redacted, V2. But tonight it felt inevitable. I had questions Eli would never answer, not truthfully. So I stopped looking for his words and went looking for his records. Are you sure you want to do this alone? Carla asked. No, I said. But I need to. She hesitated before standing. I'll be in the other room. Holler if you hit anything dangerous. The folder opened to a clean list of subfiles, no labels more than 2 words. Transfer, log lease, no match doc, Naomi J. Ruiz, archive. That last one made my skin go cold. I clicked. Inside screenshots of my LinkedIn profile from 2 years ago. Notes typed in, Courier font Jenna, clean public image, low conflict history, media presence minimal. There was a folder of photos me smiling cropped beside Eli at networking events, a scanned copy of my design resume, then draft, press release, March 2023, docs. I opened it. New creative director announced following engagement, lead partners Eli Ruiz credits, future wife for fresh vision. It was dated 3 weeks before he proposed. He'd written the headline, before I even said yes. I closed the file, heart pounding. This wasn't a relationship. It was a rollout. I returned to Doc, Naomi. Inside, she'd written a log of the 3 times she'd attempted to speak with HR. Each entry included times, recipient names, and reactions. One included a quote from Eli supposedly said to her in the hallway after her second complaint. Some women think they deserve an ending. You're just an interruption. I sat with that for a while. The coldness of it. The certainty. I could hear his voice low and composed saying it. I clicked open the final video file, silent footage from a security camera. Naomi must have gotten through a back channel. It showed Eli deleting folders from a shared cloud drive. Timestamps lined up with dates she mentioned in her complaint. One folder was called Bridal Strategy. He hovered over it, then deleted. I couldn't breathe. I called Carla in, showed her everything. She watched silently, jaw tight. He built a marriage like a media pitch. No, I said. He built a marriage like a product. She sat down beside me. You still want to publish your side? I turned the screen toward her, my blog draft open, cursor blinking on the final sentence. I don't want to write revenge. I want to write the missing record. The next day, I drafted an email. To Naomi, the address bounced, but I tried anyway. CC Carla myself. Subject, I owe you something closer to the truth, Naomi. You don't know me, not really. And what I knew of you came in pieces, whispers, denials, and what he allowed me to imagine. I found your drive. Your complaint, your warnings. You tried. I want you to know that now someone else has heard you. I didn't stop the first time I wanted to. That's the only reason I'm free. I'm not publishing your name. That's your story. But I'm publishing mine. Because if someone else finds their name buried in his folders one day, I want them to know they're not crazy. They're just caught in someone else's narrative. Thank you for writing it down. Jenna Ruiz. I hit send, even knowing it might never reach her. Then I opened my blog platform, uploaded the evidence blurred where it needed to be. Audio transcript redacted. Names omitted except my own. Title, The Proposal Was a Script. I just didn't know I was the storyboard. I reread every sentence twice. I almost deleted the last line. Then I bolded it. I stopped asking him for the truth. I found it myself. And I clicked publish. That night, I didn't sleep. I watched the analytics tick up, comments flooding in, emails from readers, too, from women who recognized pieces of Naomi's story in their own experiences. Carla stayed over her laptop on her stomach, reading everything aloud in disbelief. Someone just called it a reverse fairy tale expose, she said. Another one wants to turn it into a podcast. I laughed, then cried. And when I was ready, I opened a new draft. Blank page. No title yet. Just a sentence. He didn't break me. He just made me realize I'd built too much on silence. He wrote me into his press release before he ever asked me to be his partner. The story he told was pretty, but the one I'm telling now is true. I woke to an email notification that made my throat go dry. Subject, reformal complaint. Follow-up internal review materials received from Tasha Hawthorne. Corporate Integrity and Ethics, Lay Partners, LLP, timestamp 6:19 a.m. Jenna. We have reviewed the materials you submitted and appreciate your courage in sharing documentation that supports previous internal investigations. Effective immediately, Eli Ruiz has been placed on unpaid administrative leave pending further review. The Natalie Lynn complaint file, Ref HR 4821, has been reopened. Please note that your recording and corroborating digital evidence have been added to the case file. Should you receive contact from Mr. H. Ruiz or any affiliated legal representative, we recommend forwarding it directly to our legal compliance team. T.H. I reread it 3 times, each time my hand steadied. I didn't know Natalie, but I knew what it felt like to scream quietly. This email felt like proof that silence didn't always win. I rolled out of bed and opened my blog again. Overnight, it had crossed 1,400,000 views. 3 more messages had come in from readers. One was anonymous, but the subject line froze me. I knew Naomi. Inside was a short message. She moved to Seattle. Changed her name, I think. She takes portraits now. Her eyes look older than they should. She reads everything quietly before speaking. I think she still checks for exits when she walks into rooms. Just thought you should know. I replied without hesitation, thank you. Please let her know. I heard her. I really heard her. Later that morning, I met Carla outside a nondescript office building downtown. She wore sunglasses even though the sun hadn't fully risen. Her coat flared behind her like a cape. "This is the lawyer," she said. For what? For what comes next?" Inside the room smelled like warm coffee and paper. A woman named Vicky nodded at us from behind her desk. "Saw your post," she said to me. "Didn't think it'd come from someone inside the PR world." "I wasn't inside," I said. "I was the prop." Vicky motioned for us to sit. "So let's talk exposure, timeline, and safety nets." She laid out the structure for potential defamation claims, NDA maneuvering, and why intent would be our shield. Your voice logs, your screenshots, the prenup draft, that press release, all of that shows strategy. "And if he denies it all?" I asked. She smiled without humor. Then we asked why the proposal and the press release were dated in the wrong order. Carla let out a soft whistle. "I love paperwork drama." Vicky handed me a document folder. "There's something else." Inside, a copy of the original HR complaint from Natalie Lynn. I recognized the formatting. It matched the redacted one we'd pulled from the drive. But this version had no redactions. It named Damien. It referenced internal Slack messages and an IT scrub that Eli requested personally. At the bottom of the complaint was a signature line I hadn't seen before. "Copy forwarded to Jenna Ruiz, IP record attached." "Wait," I said. "This says I was forwarded the complaint." Vicky nodded. "You were. We confirmed via your inbox metadata, but I never saw it. Because it was marked as spam, and your email had a rule set to auto-delete any messages with HR in the subject line." Carla's eyes widened. "Eli wrote that filter." I nodded. "He once told me too many HR newsletters clogged my inbox. He created a digital blindfold," Vicky said. "Evidence hash 2 lands, different type than hash-own type, internal forwarded email, sender Natalie Lynn, timestamp Oct 1, 37:03 p.m., subject harassment escalation, filed 10/13, attachment complaint ID, HR 4821. Unredacted with IP forwarding tag discovery found in system logs, auto-deleted via email filter set by Eli, keyword tag legally significant." I sat back, breath shallow. "So he blocked me from seeing her." "He made the decision," Vicky said, "that you didn't need the truth, and he made your inbox agree." That night, I sat in the dark with my laptop and listened to the audio, 119 file again. Not for the voice, not for the words, but for the silences. I wrote one more blog post, not long, not emotional. Just this: Naomi told the truth and lost her place in the story. I'm telling it again so she gets one. And if you're reading this because someone made you feel like an interruption, no, you were the plot twist they feared most. Then I booked a train ticket, not a plane, something slower. Destination Seattle. No plan. Just a name I wasn't even sure she used anymore, but I knew the color grading on her photography, the edge of her shadows, the symmetry in the way she captured people trying not to be seen. "I'm not going to confront her," I told Carla before I left. "I just want to say thank you." Carla hugged me tight. "Tell her in a picture, no words, just proof. of what that someone made it out and didn't burn the whole world down on her way. I stepped onto the train with the drive in my coat pocket and the printout of Natalie's email folded between two sketchbooks. No makeup, no husband, no press release, just the truth, untidy, unspun. Mine. He didn't just delete Naomi's voice, he built a filter so I'd never even hear it. The first lie he told was small. The last one made me rewrite the ending. The Seattle air was different. Damp, forgiving, like the kind that lets you breathe out without needing to justify the shape of your exhale. I stepped off the train with nothing but a tote bag and the address of a photography gallery I found buried in a blog post from 2 years ago. The author credited Naomi Lynn for a series on women in motion, each portrait blurred just enough to suggest they'd never been still. I recognized the angles. Inside the gallery, the walls were stark white. Simple frames, no names beneath the portraits, just numbers and a title at the top of the wall, testimony without sound. I stood in front of one photo longer than the others. A woman seated on a subway platform, her eyes half-lidded, hands clasped like a verdict. The composition was perfect. It didn't ask for attention, it deserved it. "Beautiful, isn't it?" said a voice beside me. I turned. It wasn't Naomi, but it was someone who knew her. "She doesn't sign them," the woman said. "Says the work should speak louder than the name." "Is she here?" The woman studied me. "Depends on who's asking." I pulled the folded photo from my pocket, the one Carla printed from the HR file. Naomi blurry, just off-center, the edge of her smile uncertain. "She saved me," I said. "I just want to tell her that." The woman didn't reply for a long moment. Then she walked to the back room. A minute later, Naomi stepped out. Her hair was shorter than I remembered from photos, her clothes simple, but her eyes, those were the same. Sharp, tired, watchful. "Jenna Ruiz," she said. Not a question. I nodded. "I didn't come to reopen anything. I just came to say you were right." "I know," she said. "You do." She reached into her coat pocket and pulled out her phone, opened a screen. Showed me a link. The proposal was a script. I just didn't know I was the storyboard. "I read it twice," she said. Didn't breathe the second time. I exhaled something that wasn't grief or anger, just release. "I didn't want to become someone known for surviving him," she said. "But I also didn't want to disappear." "You didn't. You don't." Naomi walked past the photograph, stopping in front of one I hadn't looked at yet. A woman facing away, standing in the middle of a street, drenched in rain. "I almost didn't keep this one," she said. "It reminded me too much of endings." "I like it," I said. "You can't tell if she's walking away or toward something." Naomi smiled faintly. That was the point. I reached into my bag and pulled out the flash drive. "Set it on the windowsill. I think you should have this." She didn't take it, just nodded. "Maybe. I just wanted to meet the person who made the lie unravel." "You did the work," she said. "I just put the first crack in the mirror." Final evidence ripple lands, verbal confirmation from Naomi type, living testimony, nature, informal in-person affirmation, function, emotional verification of full reversal, motif impact, truth reversal, complete original speaker returns, and confirms breach. We stood there silent. Two women once erased, now centered, framed in our own words. Back in Atlanta 2 days later, Carla picked me up from the airport. She had coffee and a printed-out list of media inquiries in the passenger seat. 3 podcasts, 1 feature piece, and someone who wants to talk to you about rights. "Rights, TV rights," she said. "Dramas in fashion." I smiled, but my chest felt tight. "You okay?" she asked. "Yeah. I just don't want to become the story he left behind." "Then don't," she said. "Become the one he couldn't silence." That night, I wrote the final blog post. He didn't erase me. He just taught me how to archive differently, Naomi documented. I published. Carla recorded. The story wasn't about heartbreak. It was about authorship. We are not erased when someone leaves us. We're erased when we stop writing. I added one image, the photo Naomi showed me, the woman in the rain. Caption, unlabeled, unstoppable. The story wasn't about heartbreak. It was about authorship. He didn't lose because I exposed him, he lost because I kept the pen. I didn't expect the podcast host to cry. Her name was Leanna, and she ran a show called Second Draft Interviews with women who had rewritten the narratives others tried to trap them in. She'd read my blog, requested an interview, and I'd finally said yes. We met in a downtown recording studio 3 weeks after the Naomi trip. Carla came with me not to speak, just to sit in the back, headphones on, pen ready like always. Leanna had a soft voice, but asked pointed questions. At first we talked about timelines, the proposal, the hidden files, the deleted complaint. But somewhere between the second and third segment the room changed. I guess what strikes me, Leanna said, is that he didn't just manipulate you, he cast you, and you didn't know the role. I blinked. She continued. What does it feel like now that you've taken back the script? I paused, then leaned into the mic. It feels like I've reclaimed my own name. She nodded, eyes shining. That's what the best stories do. They return your voice to you. That night the episode went live. It hit 8,000 streams in 48 hours. By the end of the week, my inbox was flooded again. Messages from women who'd seen the cracks before the collapse. From interns in law firms who said, I've worked with an Eli. I just didn't know what to call it. From a woman who wrote only, you gave me permission to say it was never my fault. One message stood out. Subject Lee Partners, final review, from Tasha Hawthorne. Timestamp 6:42 p.m. Miss Ruiz. Following the conclusion of our independent investigation, we've taken the following actions. Eli Ruiz employment terminated for cause. Natalie Lynn's file has been reclassified as verified misconduct. New compliance protocols are in place, including a mandatory review of any digital comms involving junior staff. Thank you again for your role in exposing the systemic gaps. Please see attached if you'd like a summary for your records. Th. Attached was a PDF titled Ruiz Investigation Outcome. PDF payoff window, triggered public institutional consequence, landed HR review, led to policy change, termination and complaint, reinstatement, closure of first arc of conflict. I read the document twice, then sent it to Naomi with no subject line, just the file. She replied 5 hours later with one word, heard. I moved out of the apartment Eli and I had shared. The lease was in my name, but I didn't want the walls. Too much had echoed there. Carla helped me find a new place, a small walk-up in Inman Park, surrounded by crepe myrtles and the smell of baked bread from the cafe next door. I brought 2 things from the old apartment, my grandmother's typewriter and the plant Eli never remembered to water. I thought you hated that thing, Carla said, handing it to me on moving day. I did, I said, but it never stopped growing anyway. A month after the blog went viral, a journalism professor emailed me from a university in Massachusetts. She'd added the story to her syllabus. Her message read, "We're reading your blog in our course on media ethics." The class is using it as a case study in authorship, misrepresentation, and restorative storytelling. Would you be willing to zoom in for the final discussion? I said yes. When I joined the class, the students already had their cameras on. The professor introduced me as the narrator who flipped the frame. I smiled, though I didn't know how to hold that label yet. One student raised her hand. When did you know it was okay to tell the truth? I thought about the recording, the photo, the email rule, Naomi's photo in the gallery. When it stopped needing to be pretty, I said, I printed the final version of the blog, all 7 posts, and had them bound into a softcover book, just for me. I left a blank page at the beginning and wrote in pen, "This isn't revenge, this is record-keeping, because survival deserves a file too." He tried to edit the narrative, but I published the footnotes. I didn't just survive the story, I archived it. And that's where the power is. It had been 68 days since I last heard Eli's voice, not that I was counting. But silence has a shape, and I'd traced its edges more times than I admitted. That morning, Carla and I were on her balcony, mugs in hand, watching the clouds build their own slow arguments. The headlines had moved on. Eli's name stopped trending. Naomi's gallery gained 2 new sponsors. My inbox quieted, then filled again, this time with job offers instead of trauma. Still, some silences feel too loud. "You okay?" Carla asked, pulling her blanket tighter. "Mostly," I said. "But there's one file I haven't opened." She raised an eyebrow. I found a folder on the drive. It wasn't part of the main archive, buried in a side branch, hidden with a fake file extension. "What's it called?" I sipped slowly before answering. "If She Finds Out." MP4. That night, I sat alone in my new apartment. No distractions. Just me, the plant, the click of the heater kicking on. I inserted the drive, navigated past the folders I'd memorized. There it was, still unchanged, still waiting. I clicked. The screen flickered. Then a grainy video appeared. Eli alone, sitting in our old living room, wearing a sweatshirt I gave him last Christmas. He looked younger, or maybe just less armored. He stared at the camera for a long time before speaking. "If you're watching this, I guess it means you found the drive, or Damien finally grew a conscience." He sighed. "I'm not here to defend what I did, but I wanted you to know something. I wasn't lying when I said I loved you. I just didn't know how to love someone I couldn't control." I froze. "Naomi was a mistake I tried to delete. You were the future I thought I could rewrite with clean margins." He rubbed his face. "You made me feel real, and that scared the hell out of me." He looked up, eyes bloodshot. "I built a career on fixing the frame. You broke that. You kept asking for the full picture. You deserved it. I just didn't know how to give it." The video ended. I didn't cry. Not because it didn't hurt, but because finally he said something that wasn't polished. No denial, no spin. Just an imperfect sentence in a file he hoped I'd never see. And that was enough. The next day, I taught my first writing workshop. 8 women, 1 room, 1 question on the board. What story were you told that you never got to correct? They looked nervous at first. Then one by one, they answered. My divorce wasn't mutual. I didn't leave the company, I was pushed. I was blamed for the thing he did. I raised myself. I didn't speak until the end. My story was rewritten before I ever read it. But now, it's mine. They nodded. One of them raised her hand. "How do you stop being afraid to tell it?" I smiled. "You don't. You just tell it anyway." That night, I burned the last printout of the prenup draft. I watched the corners curl, blacken, vanish. The flash drive, I didn't destroy it. I mailed it. No note. No return address. Just an envelope marked, "To the next woman who doubts herself." I didn't need it anymore. The record was in me now. He filmed a confession he never meant to send, but I was never asking for closure. Just clarity. I don't carry the lie anymore. I carry the lesson. And that weighs less. 2 months later, I received a package wrapped in brown paper with no return address. The handwriting on the label was unfamiliar, angular, neat. Inside, a single photograph, 8x10, printed on heavy matte paper. It was a shot of me from the Seattle gallery. Standing in front of the portrait, Naomi had called her, "Maybe Ending the Woman in the Rain." In the frame, I was still head slightly tilted, mouth closed. But something was different. I looked grounded. On the back, scrawled in black ink, "Every witness deserves a frame. N.L." I sat down slowly, running my fingers over the edge. Naomi had taken the picture without me noticing. She'd framed it, titled it, mailed it. It wasn't a thank you. It was something stronger, a restoration. A week later, I got a call from Leanna, the podcast host. A publishing house had reached out to her asking for an intro to me. Not because they wanted the blog, not because they wanted the expose. "They want your story," Leanna said. "But not the part about Eli. The part after." I sat in silence for a moment. Then, "So, not the wreckage." "No," she said. "The rebuild." That night, I opened a new document. Blank. Untitled. No quotes. No files. No timelines. I typed times. The first story I ever told was the one someone else wrote. The second one burned that version down. This one plants something in the ashes. Asterisk. And beneath that, I wrote a name. Not his, Not hers, mine. I visited my grandmother's grave that Sunday for the first time in years. I brought her the final printed blog post bound like a chapbook tied with soft string. She'd always told me, "You have a good ear for liars. Use it." I set the book beside her stone. "You were right," I whispered. "I just didn't know how loud the lie could be." Then I stood and walked away without turning back. I didn't need signs or symbols. I had the story. I had the frame. I had the truth. Months later, the press coverage died down. Naomi's gallery gained permanent funding. Carla published her own feature on systemic red flag blindness inside corporate structures. It went viral. Damien, according to a quiet update from a mutual contact, left the city and now teaches ethics seminars in a college upstate. I never replied to the one email Eli sent. No subject line, no body text. Just an attachment, a photo of the bed from our old apartment. I deleted it. Some things don't deserve storage. The morning I signed the book contract, I walked to the mirror with no makeup, no filter, no plan. I stared for a while. The face that once looked for permission now looked for punctuation. I said aloud just once, "You told the truth," and it didn't echo like an apology. Months later, on publication day, the first advance copy arrived. Hardcover, embossed title, no subtitle, just my name clean across the bottom. Inside the front flap, a memoir about seeing clearly, speaking loudly, and choosing truth over performance, even when the stage looks perfect. There was a final page I'd insisted on including. No page number, just a dedication. For Naomi, because they tried to delete you. But you were the first draft of my freedom. I didn't write a happy ending, I wrote an honest beginning. He left me in silence. I turned it into story. Now it's louder than him.